What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the garage. Today I thought I'd do a little vlog style video and just give you an update on what's going on with the projects. As you can see, I look a little bit tired. That's because we got a new border collie puppy and he's definitely been a handful. And hopefully you've noticed that the image quality is a little bit updated because I got a new phone. I got an S21 Ultra. So hopefully the video and the sound is a little bit better for you guys now. But yeah, since I haven't really shown much progress on the Subaru, I figured I'd give you guys a big update because it's getting very, very close to actually running and driving. I know a lot of you guys probably don't care about it, you just care about the Volvo and the Xterra. But this Subaru has been in the works for a long time for me. And I know it's just been bolting on stuff, but for whatever reason, it's just taken me forever. But anyways, yeah, I thought I'd give you guys a bit of an update. Just quickly here, you can see my list of things to do is pretty much non-existent anymore, just some random bullshit on there. But as you can see, the engine bay is all buttoned up. It just needs some fluids and of course a tune, and then it's all good to go. Try to remember where you guys left off here. I think it was with the AOS. That was the last sort of major video that I made on this thing. It's all run, it's all plumbed up, and I've got some DEI heat shielding there just because I'm not running I'm not running a metal shroud on the turbo. I'm just running a blanket, so I just wanted to be extra cautious with that. My buddy made up these cool 3D printed little hose clamp spacer things, which route everything really nicely. One of the challenges I had was keeping the factory evap system and also plumbing it back into the turbo inlet here because there was only one port left. So I had to actually get I think it was a 1/2 inch to like a 1/4 inch reducer elbow to fit in there and plumb everything up here, and replumbed it all with silicone hose, so it's all nice and tidy there. The last sort of, I guess the top of the engine here was like such a huge pain in the ass. Getting the intercooler on and everything just fought me for, I think it was like 3 days. It was driving me absolutely crazy. So originally I had bought the Samco intercooler hose kit, and you know, Samco makes really nice hoses. They're awesome, but the problem with those is that they're built to such specific OEM tolerances that they didn't work with the Torque Solutions turbo inlet because the fitting's pushed over this way. They didn't work with the intake manifold because it's lifted up with the spacers, and everything was just completely out of whack. So to get the intercooler to fit properly with all the mods, which aren't that many mods, I just purchased some generic Vibrant hose. This is just a 90 degree, and I just trimmed it, and this is just a straight, what is it, 2.5 inch coupler or whatever, and just trim that. And then I could finally get the intercooler bolted on into its proper position. So the bypass valve hose from the Samco kit was giving me the most trouble, just because this turbo inlet is bigger in diameter, and the actual fitting down here, which I don't know if you can see, is actually pushed over towards the driver's side, making that hose end up somewhere about here. And being like rigid silicone, you can't just bend it back and push it in. It was like really kinked and was just not going to work with where the placement of the intercooler was. So after cutting it down, chopping it up, realized that it actually necked down after a certain point after this sort of bend. So I'd cut off too much and it actually didn't fit on this elbow. So I was kind of hooped there. So I ended up just getting a factory bypass valve hose from Subaru. And even with that, I had to trim off some on this side and I had to trim off some on this side to get the overall length to fit from here to here and bolt up to where the bypass valve is. So finally, after fighting that, I got the TurboSmart dual port bolted up. Looks really good. Makes the intercooler look like shit, just with all the rock chips and everything. I tried to clean it up as best I could, but not really much you can do with that. And then I ran all these new hoses, got the fuel pressure, I think it's a fuel pressure regulator reference line or whatever, run. So that's it for the intercooler and all that stuff. It was actually such a huge nightmare. I don't know why shouldn't have been that hard, but at the end of the day I figured it out. All I needed was some cheap generic vibrant hose and a stock bypass valve hose. And moving on to the interior, I got my SMY gauge pod all put in there and loaded up with some AEM X series gauges, oil pressure and wideband. And those were pretty easy to install, pretty easy to run the wires into the dash or under the dash from the engine bay. I just came in over there through a grommet for both of them and just ran it under the dash, under the head unit there. So the one thing that you have to note if you are going to purchase this SMY gauge pod and X series gauges is that you need a backing plate for these gauges, just because they are so thin. They don't actually fit in here properly with the rubber bands. If you have never mounted gauges before, they come with this, and it's sort of a pressure fit in there. Yeah, make sure you purchase that all at once. I didn't, so I had to wait a little bit to get them fit into their final home. And back to the engine here for the oil pressure gauge. You might be able to see it down there, maybe not. That brass fitting, I plumbed into the front oil galley for the oil pressure gauge, and all I had to do was just get a Pro Sport adapter fitting for that. Unplug the oil warning light, so I'm not going to use that because basically if the oil warning light goes off, you basically are done at that point anyway. So having the pressure gauge is a lot more important. And for the wideband, I just plumbed into the top here of the NVIDIA downpipe, which is super easy. Basically, yeah, not much to that. Down here, I just added a new front O2 sensor and the same for the rear. That's pretty standard stuff. Picked those up from Rock Auto and they were super cheap. They have the OEM Denso units, so no reason spending any more on those than you have to. So yeah, like I said, pretty much buttoned up. It just needs fluids, and I need to buck a tune, and that's it for the engine. Onto the back here, just got it covered up just so I don't damage it. But finally got the Tomei exhaust installed. It's looking really nice. Really excited to hear this thing. And honestly, I'm super proud of this rear end here, just how clean it is, like with the freshly powder coated sway bars, the ISC arms, all the stainless hardware, powder coated diff cover there. Yeah, this rear end was a lot of work. I guess powder coated subframe, or not powder coated, PR15 subframe. But yeah, super stoked on that. I think I got it, I mean, a little bit of adjustment needed there maybe, but it's fairly centered, I think. I'll probably have to add some sort of a heat shielding here so I don't melt this plastic. But yeah, really excited. to hear this thing fire up for the first time. And yeah, honestly, it was kind of a bit of a pain in the ass to get this Tomei exhaust installed. Like, I had to rotate it around and fiddle with it, and I didn't think it was going to be that difficult, but it took me a good couple hours to get everything buttoned up and fitted exactly how I wanted it. But in the end, it all worked out. So then the last kind of couple things were brakes. So new StopTech slotted rotors and Hawk HPS pads and Goodrich stainless lines here. So that's all buttoned up. Just need to bleed these brakes. I did have a pretty big hiccup with these brake calipers though. I picked up a set of used calipers from a guy on Instagram over on the east coast of Canada, and they use quite a bit of salt on their roads and whatnot. But anyways, I bought some calipers. They were red. I'd planned to strip them apart, get them powder coated, but they ended up just being way too corroded. Some of these bolts didn't come out the back, so I couldn't split the caliper, and it just ended up being a complete shit show. So picked these ones up from 541 Motorsports on eBay for a really good price, and they came super fast. They're really nice shape for, I think they came off a 2010 STI, but they're black. They're nice. They came loaded with pads and everything, but I swapped them out for my Hawk pads anyways. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the brakes. Just need to bleed them like I said. And onto the front. Not too much here. Again, just added the Goodrich lines. They came in a pack of 4, so front and rear, so might as well do that. Cleaned up these rotors a little bit. They were kind of gross. I mean, these are fairly new rotors, but they sat for so long, so they had a little bit of scale on them. Hopefully when I go for a drive, they'll clean up a bit. The pads weren't too bad. I just sanded them down just a tiny bit because I thought they weren't bed in properly, so actually sanding them down and whatnot and having to clean everything up was actually a good thing for me, so I can rebed in all the brake pads along with the back ones for the first time. So there's that. And for wheels, I'm still paying for my 3-piece wheels, which they're very expensive, but there's just a little bit left to pay for. But in the meantime, I picked these guys up off Facebook Marketplace for $500. Yeah, they're Motegi MR138s, which I don't think they make anymore. They're 18 by 9 plus 35. So they're somewhat aggressive. They came off a 98 Supra. And all of them are the same. So it's a square setup, so don't have to worry about staggered fitment problems and whatnot. So yeah, these should get me by in the meantime. They're in pretty good shape. A couple little scuffs. The tires are fairly bad. They're 255/35, but I'm probably gonna swap my 245/45s on these because they're pretty much new, and just run those and get this car tuned on these. These will be a nice lightweight wheel for if I ever do a track day or whatnot. Just had to get some hub centric rings, 56/1 to 72 to fit them on. Haven't actually even set these on the car yet, so I know they fit, but yeah, I haven't actually really seen what they look like, so maybe I will just do that right now real quick. All right, so those are the wheels installed, and The front alignment should be okay because I didn't really mess with that too much, but it might need a little bit of camber. Or I maybe just won't run as low as I'd want to. Maybe more of a track stance, if anything. But the tires I'm going to put on here, like I said, are 245s and these are 255s. The only reason I'm not running these is because the tread on two of them is pretty worn out. So I don't want to go causing issues to the all-wheel drive. The rear here, the alignment is fairly out of whack. You can see it's towed in quite a bit, but I haven't adjusted the Torque Solutions tow arms, which I don't think you can see in there. But yeah, fairly happy with these Motegi wheels. They were cheap, 500 bucks, and they clear the Brembos, no problem. There's tons of room in here, so no issues with that. But suspension wise, I do need to reroute my airlines and stuff for the bags because I really don't like how I did it originally. If you've watched my old videos on installing this, yeah, I didn't really have any tools. I didn't even finish the series on it, but yeah, I was just trying to get it done as quickly as possible and just drilling holes willy-nilly here and there, and just ran the lines like under the car. Not in the best location. Looking at it now, it's kind of like, ooh, if that catches on something, then I'm kind of hooped. They're fairly tucked up, but there is the odd chance that I could hit something and it could puncture a line. So I'm gonna reroute those and use some proper bulkhead fittings and not just rubber grommets, even though those did do fine for wet weather and whatnot. But I'm just gonna clean it up a bit. And I'm still sort of debating. I picked up this old school Japanese Izumi racing wood wheel. I'm still debating whether or not I want to run that in this car. I think it would actually look pretty cool. Maybe not in track mode, but definitely in stance mode. It would, I think it would add a little bit of character to it. But yeah, not really going to do much to the interior. Just going to leave it as is for now. But I guess while I got you guys here, since this is a vlog, not really a video about anything, I'll show you the brown turd Volvo here. You can see I got some interior panels back in. I got this back piece back in. You can see it looks kind of blue, but that's just because it's faded from the sun. I don't know. This probably sat in the yard for 10 years, baking in the sun. And this chocolate brown interior is actually in really good shape. Gave the interior a cleanse here. There was a ton of mold and mildew and gross stuff. Basically just done the back here for now. And as you can see, I've gone full Dexter and used the plastic sheeting all over the doors just to keep the moisture out and keep these cardboard panels from rotting away. But it'll crawl in here. Got one seat in here. I think the color is gonna look really good. The chocolate brown with the chocolate brown interior. I think it's gonna be pretty sweet. One little problem I did find, which is actually not that bad. This is the only spot of rust on the floor here, and I think it's due to the side vents here. This one not being fully closed. I think the seal is just fine, but I don't think it had been closed fully for a long time, so it was letting in water. And yeah, it's crusty. It's not terrible, but I think I'm gonna have somebody cut that out for me just because I don't have the provisions to do it myself at this time, and it shouldn't be too big of a repair, but yeah, I'll get that done, and then I can get the interior buttoned up and maybe drive this thing. The exterior is another story. Oh, I gotta remember to close this hatch because that thing from the garage door ripped this right off. I had to pick up another one and did all this damage. It's kind of like one of those things where you just slowly watched it happen and there wasn't anything you could do about it, but learned my lesson that way. Well, we might as well go say hi to the puppy here. See if he's awake. Oh, there's the little guy. There's the little guy. Hi, buddy. So this is Ollie, and he's 10 weeks old at this point. And he can be really nice, and he can also be a little shithead. But that's to be expected for a puppy. But hopefully coming up soon, you'll see him in a lot more videos just in the background helping out. And you know, we still have the cats, of course, and they're actually doing quite well together. Hey Ollie, you want to say hi to YouTube? You want to be famous on YouTube? Yeah. I actually did start an Instagram for this guy, but mostly just so we can keep up to date on puppy products and whatnot. But his Instagram is West Coast Collie, if you want to stay up to date with him. But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much it for today. That's it for this vlog of random stuff. Hopefully next you'll see the Subaru up and running. Isn't that right? You want to go for a ride in the Subaru? Hey? No, you just want to nap and chew on things. All right. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.